Hello, everybody. It's me, Demetra Kane. I'm sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. Yes, it's shiny too. Oh, I can read your mind through all of that anyway. We're both dragging. I don't know about y'all, but this time change is just still kind of like, So anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always try to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also to my wonderful moderators, thank you for everything that you do. I see my triple OG, Don, and I see JJ. How you doing today? Lauren, what's going on with you? Clifford, dear self, you're here early. Woohoo! And I'll get to all your comments in just a second. So today we're going to be talking about dear Black America, and not the Black America that shows up in the comment section, but something tells me he will today. Dear Black America, Trump will not save us from the Democrats. And of course, I'm going to tell y'all why I'm getting into that. I saw a video, and I've showed videos from this group once before, and I love them dearly. I wish when I grow up that I can be half of what they are. So I'm going to show that to you. And then, of course, I'll get into why I say Trump will not save us from the Democrats, the Trump or the Republicans for that matter. So in the meantime, Donovan, how are you?
Again, like you said, I'm just dragging, trying to catch up, do everything that I can do. Real quick, you guys know that I'm volunteering over at a hardware store, Ace Hardware, and my goal is to raise $7,000 for the homeless vets and people within my community. And $7,000, people need tangibles, they don't need promises. And Demetra and I were talking about that a little earlier. So I'm going to stress for those people out there, if some of you guys that are financially distressed, the post office is hiring, Amazon is hiring. There's a lot of businesses that are hiring extra Christmas help. So if you need that extra money and you got teenagers sitting on their ass, not doing nothing, put them out there and get that work. Because guess what? Just like Trump ain't coming to save us, this government is not coming to save us. People need tangibles. There are people 2 months away from foreclosure and all kinds of situations like that. And we as Black people, I do not understand it, Demetra. We keep sitting on our ass waiting for somebody to come and save us instead of doing what we need to do for ourselves. So anyway, welcome to the Demetra K Show. Glad to have you guys back. This is a great thing. I'm Donovan Saadiq, the Black Yule Brenner. Do us a favor. There's a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you guys want to continue to donate, some of you guys have donated. Thank you so much. It keeps these great conversations going. There's ways you can add to the show. You can Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, money order, cash, however you guys want to do it. Trust me, every single dime and penny that you guys contribute to this show keeps it on the internet longer, and it has the content creator continue to create great conversations. Also, don't forget about the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. Original content within there that you're not going to see on the YouTube algorithm. Emancipation Channel has other things, and also news and contributors from all around the diaspora. African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. This is a very important conversation because I did a video on my Facebook. Great minds think alike, Demetra, almost exactly to what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get into it.
And right off the bat, thank you, African Native, for that super sticker. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And dear self, she believes that we're all going to be on the same page as well. Okay, so y'all know I don't really be on the internet like that. Really from like Thursday to Sunday. So I was sitting on the couch kind of scrolling to see what I was going to talk about. And our dear beautiful sister Danny C, y'all know Danny C from Chicago Flips Red, came up. And of course I ended up talking about her. I think it was Wednesday, because she sat before Congress essentially talking about the things that are going on in Chicago in regards to ICE and all that other stuff. So she came up again. And she's basically asking Trump, to come on here. And I'm going to let y'all see a video of her and all her reasons as to why she's. And of course, they've been asking, right? Chicago Flips Red. They have been asking Trump to come in, obviously due to the illegal immigration system, the benign neglect of the Democrats, J.B. Pritzker, the governor, Brandon Johnson, the mayor. They're, in the trenches fighting for illegal immigrants, not so much Black Chicagoans especially, right? Because, of course, we know that the immigrants were shipped directly to, for the most part, right? The Black neighborhoods, where the Black neighborhoods are already devoid of things that they've been asking for, but the immigrants got it all, housing and you name it. But of course, we know, unfortunately, there's a lot of things going on in Chicago, especially the Black neighborhoods. And it's not just because of illegal immigration, but it's kind of been going on. I don't know if it's getting worse or it's getting better. If you listen to the mayor, he says, oh, crime is going down. The governor, crime is going down. But then when you listen to the residents of Chicago, they're like, not so much. Of course, we've been talking a copious amount about what happened in Chicago with the mother who was, jumped with her children. I did a video again on my channel about another man who's 21 years old. He's autistic. He was also, jumped by that same group of children, and they filmed it and a whole host of other things. So I'm going to let y'all listen to Sister Danny C give a whole host of reasons as to why she is, in a sense, begging Trump to go into Chicago. So here we go.
Done with the gaslighting by Brandon Johnson and J.D. Pritzker. We're not asking anymore. We're demanding. Enough is enough. We need help. President Trump, we need help. Our elected officials have failed us. They failed their number one oath of duty to protect the American citizens, the Chicago citizens, the Illinois citizens. They have ignored that, and they have put us in danger without no regards to our safety or our kids' safety. Just this year alone, we've had 4,000 shootings, and I believe it's more, and 600 murders. And now we know that Black Americans make up 70 to 80% of homicides here in just Illinois, Chicago alone. And how is that when we're only 30% of the population here? We need help. You can't even go to a traditional Christmas lighting downtown without getting shot and killed. Just the other day at the Christmas tree lighting ceremony on State Street, which is downtown, we had a mass shooting where 8 people were shot. They say it's 9, and 1 person lost their life. Now, all of these things that I'm telling you about happened in just this month. We've had a pregnant mother with sickle cell get jumped, her and her kids, by a group of elementary school kids. On the train platform, we had a young lady be set on fire by a guy who had multiple arrests and was let right back out. We also had where ICE officers were shot at on 26th in Little Village, on 26th Street in Little Village, where ICE officers were shot at. And then later on that night, we had a father and son get robbed and killed in that same place. We're done. We're done with the gaslighting. We're done with these elected officials like Brandon Johnson and our police department around them who have the details that we are not privy to have. We're done with that. We don't have the police details walking around and surrounding us and protecting us like these criminals do. And we're tired of burying loved ones while they sit around and go on TV and interviews and the fake news time and time again, telling you and trying to convince us that crime is down and we're not in danger. We're tired of that. We need help. We need help with the illegal alien invasion. We need help with the crime that's happening in Illinois, Chicago. We need help, President Trump. And we're done. We're done. We're not playing this game anymore. People are burying their loved ones every day because of this, while our elected officials are playing politics. We're tired. We're done. President Trump, we need you to come in, and we are not asking anymore. We demand some help, and we demand some investigations on these crooks.
Okay. So again, that is a very beautiful Danny C, who is a soldier there in Chicago. Of course, we see her a lot on television and things like that. And, I cannot even really reiterate what she said enough. Y'all heard all the horrible things that have happened in Chicago just that month alone. Of course, she talked about the Christmas tree lighting, the elementary school, a father and son whose life sounds like it was taken during a robbery and things like that. So she basically says, we're not asking, we are demanding, basically Trump come on in here. Now, of course, she also highlighted that, the politicians and things like that, they walk around with a security detail. So they're the ones, obviously, that can say, oh, crime is going down, and everything is good. And she was like, well, in a sense, and I've heard a lot of other people say this in Chicago, well, you probably wouldn't feel that way if you didn't have the security detail that you have, and the proof is in the pudding. You obviously don't believe what you're saying. If you're walking around with a security detail, you know what's going on. But see, of course, we know that Trump sent in the National Guard and ICE and all that other stuff. Tom Homan, in fact, before Trump got into office, said that Chicago would be one of their first stops. It doesn't sound like it was, but it came eventually. So, of course, we've seen and heard of politicians and just everyday people trying to run up into the ICE detention centers and, getting in trouble essentially because of them rounding up the illegal immigrants. But to the point of the Black Chicagoans, Danny seeing them, they're like, hey, we got issues, right? So Trump, please, because Mayor Brandon Johnson, J.B. Pritzker, the governor, they're not interested in helping us. But as I was listening to that, and I've kind of been on this trajectory for a minute now, and I think we kind of all know that Trump is not going to save Black Americans from the Democrats. The Republicans are not going to save Black Americans from the Democrats. Why? Because they don't want to. Why? Because they're one and the same when they think about us as Black Americans. Because for me, and this nothing on Danny C or any of Chicago Flips Red, but to say, Trump, I need you to save us and help us from the Democrats implies that Trump and the Republicans or MAGA, whatever party he's at this point, cares about Black Americans more. And they don't. Neither party cares about Black Americans more, because the truth of the matter is, under both the Republicans and the Democrat reign, if you will, Black Americans have always been bad off. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that nobody in the White House is concerned about doing anything for Black Americans at all, which is why we were called and told to, do for self. Now, the other part of that is too, and it's just funny because I was listening to the webcast today, and student minister Ishmael Muhammad was delivering, obviously, and he was talking about basically we need to make our neighborhoods safe and decent, right? Of course, he highlighted a lot of the things that she talked about. And the one thing we must realize is that's up to us, right? That's up to us. No politician is going to make our neighborhoods better. If that was the case, the way we've been voting, and of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has pointed this out a lot, the way we've been voting by now, if the Democrats, because we, let's say we vote for the Democrats the most, or anybody we voted for, if they were going to make our situation better, it would have been that already. So at this point, I'm not discouraging anybody from voting. I'm just saying, keeping in mind, we are voting in vain, relinquishing our ability to save ourselves to somebody else. Again, the premise is, okay, if you're thinking about, let's say, any white supremacists, right? Democrat, Republican, they're never going to make life better. If we think about them in the term of master, they're never going to make life better for the slave. Now, again, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that is not the slave master's interest. Because again, why would he make the slave equal to him by making things better? Right now, is there things that they should do? Yes, like reparations and land and all the other stuff that they said they were going to give us, but they didn't give us, and they're still saying they're not. Yeah, they should and they will do that eventually, but that's not going to happen until we as Black Americans realize what we have to be doing. In theory, yes, Trump should, I guess, go in there, and he's winning there. But again, think about this. He sent the National Guards to Chicago, right? Did he not? I don't know if they're still there. Maybe they're, I don't know, at this point. But did things get better? As she said, within a month time span, all of these things took place. So Trump sending in the National Guard did not do anything for that. Now, if you just follow the breadcrumbs, what would be the next train of thought? It should be the first one. And that is, it says in the message to the Black man in America, we have to civilize ourselves, right? Civilize each other. And that's by teaching us standards, decency, things, ways to go about life, raising our children, right? And so that they will be conducive people into society. But again, when we say we need somebody outside of us to help us, we give up our ability or even our will to want to save ourselves. So no, Trump will not save us from the Democrats, because none of them care about Black Americans. And you know why? Because, and I know somebody gonna get mad, we don't care about ourselves. Donovan, and I'll get into the comment section in just a second.
Yep, I agree with you 100%. Again, charity starts at home. If you want to save somebody, you can't save somebody until you take care of your home first. How many of you ladies out there that are moms, how many of you ladies out there will feed other people's children before you feed your own? It's common sense. You won't do it. I have never met a mother that's going to feed other children before she feeds her own. It's just common sense. And like you said, that's the basic blueprint of how you recover from a illness. You've got to start and rebuild from the bottom up. A good example, for me to fly airplanes, I was really deficient in math. As much pride as I had, because I was raised on flashcards, like a lot of us in our generation was, that's why a lot of us in the Generation X generation, we can't do algebra, because we cannot break a equation down. We can give you the answer, but we don't know how to break it down. I had to go back and rebuild from the start, and that's what we have to start doing. And again, I don't care how you look at it, how you want to blame and point the fingers. It does not matter. Feminism destroys cultures. That's a fact. Feminism is a lie. Ladies, it's a lie. We have to get together, man and woman, and work this thing out and work together if we like it or not. Because if we do not, we shall perish. And that's just the bottom line of everything. We are seeing what is going on. Everybody can agree. If you're this or that, your alternate lifestyle, it doesn't matter. Everybody can agree. Single parenting is a failure. You need both parents or a tool of both parents. So we can all agree on that. We have to get back to the basics, and it's just a sad thing. In regards to the Democrat or anybody saving us, look at the policies of the Democratic Party. California, again, I'm going to say it. California is the blueprint of how the Democratic policy is toward Black people. Now, since we are overwhelmingly Democratic, we're born Democrats, we're raised Democrats, we live and breathe Democrat. Why would we even think the Republicans are going to save us when we've been brainwashed to think the Republicans are the enemy? So why would you go to your enemy expecting them to save you? If anything, they're going to cut your head off, right? So there's nobody out here that's going to save ourselves. But Dimitri, I will say this to you. I did watch your video on the Emancipation channel in regards to, well, what was it? Doing for ourselves. It was something, it was really mindful, kind of what we're talking about today and how we have to do for ourselves. And, no, it was about awakening. It was about awakening, how more Black people are questioning their voting records and how they vote, and why are they voting Democrat, and they're becoming independent thinkers. That was the topic, independent thinking of Black people. And more Black people are now starting to be independent thinkers, which is what we should have been doing from the very beginning. Because what affects Donovan and what's in Donovan's interest is not in Dimitra's interest as a woman, right? We have different interests, right? The patriarchy. Oh, the patriarchy, the problem in the world. Well, guess what, ladies? As a man, I benefit from the patriarchy. So I understand your stance being feminist or whatever, and the matriarchy. You guys want to free yourselves and liberate yourselves. I get it. I'm just saying, don't expect me to help you. Why would I help you destroy something that I benefit from? Independent thinking. But at the same time, one individual, Donovan Saadiq, I can sit and fight all day, and I do at city council for Black people. But guess what? I'm just one person. I would be more effective if I had a Dimitra K and you guys standing with me, because like they say, it is very easy to break one branch, very difficult to break a bundle.
Absolutely. In Neighborhood Watch, you've been making a lot of comments. You can see it look like you low-key kind of crashing out a little bit. I ask that you please do not, do that. You don't need to crash out, and you don't know who I voted for. If I voted for Kermit the Frog, that problem was still there in Chicago. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump or any of that kind of stuff. That's a local issue with the mayor and, the governor allowing the illegal immigration and things to go on and participating in the benign neglect of Black Chicagoans there. And of course, we know that. And we're learning that as Black Americans, especially voters, that Black politicians mean us no earthly good. They just don't. They can't mean us any earthly good because they won't go into office saying, well, I'm only going to run if I can do for my people. And it's not my people only. It's my people too. They can't even do for their people too. They have to give us that symbolism, right? That carrot on the string. That's what we get. Keep hope alive, hope and change, right? That's what we get. But they can't do that. So to say that because somebody voted for this, that, and the other, that problem was already there. So I kind of really need you to educate yourself and don't be up in here crashing out, please and thank you, because I don't have the patience for it today. Majestic, how you doing? Says feminism is just another form of white supremacy. It is, right? And unfortunately, the Black woman has been used and roped into that almost, well, I don't want to say from the very beginning. From the very beginning, feminism was against the black man, because the black man could vote, but the white woman couldn't. Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady and all of them, they was like, wait a minute now, why can't he vote and we can't? Right. So that's kind of what sparked that. It was about voters' rights, and white women wanted what black men had. So that's how that started. And I also say, Brother Stephen, I want to say, whatever is going on with your wife, my prayers are to her and to you. That whatever it is, that is speedy recovery and all of that, and tell her we said hello. Facts Not Feelings, she says, we cannot get together with the women who don't respect us, only the ones who respect us. Well, I see y'all want to get started early. And praise the Lord.
See, but that goes back to my point. We've got to put the BS aside, regardless of how we feel about it, and we have to work together. I get it. If we have issues between men and women in the Black community, I get it. Let's put it to the side for right now, because that's really not important. What's really important is our survival as a people. They are marginalizing us in all of these cities. California, you have no political voice as a Black person. Black people have no say-so what happens in the state of California, the tax dollars or anything here. New York, Black people have no say-so because the immigrants have taken over. What do you think is happening in Chicago right now that they're trying to fight for right now? To have and continue to have the say-so that they need, because they see what is happening in these enclaves. And if you're in Houston, and if you're in Jacksonville, Florida, and if you're in the ATL, look at the ATL. That's a prime example. White people are breaking off and just decimating Atlanta as a whole, creating other cities so that they can have the voice to speak for what they want to speak on and do what they got to do. They are marginalizing us in real time. And we're sitting here arguing about trivial matters right now between black men and Black women. I'm going to be the first to say I have some issues with women, but guess what? I'm always going to need my Black woman.
I know that's right. And I don't know if y'all seen a revelation that's been going on Twitter, where somehow there was a glitch somehow behind the scenes where they disclosed where all of the accounts are originated from. So a lot of those accounts, and one specifically, I can't remember her name, but she's big time anti-Black man, and she's allegedly Black, right? And when I say that, strong quotations, she hates Black men and this, that, and the other. Well, it was discovered when this glitch took place that account is actually coming from India somewhere, Southeast Asia. So I say all that to say a lot of this division, and we all kind of knew that, a lot of this division, especially between Black men and women, was by design. There's these accounts that they're finding, even the Department of Homeland Security, they say it's in Israel, right? So they're finding all these accounts that are not even in the United States. But yeah, it's very interesting to see accounts like, oh, I hate Black men and you should too type thing. It's somewhere in India, right? So we got to be very careful. And I don't want to dismiss what you're saying, Facts Not Feelings, but we got to get past that. We don't have a choice to keep on kind of spinning the hamster wheel on Black men hate Black women and vice versa. We don't have time anymore. Texas Barabbas was going on when she says Obama was Black people's one hope, but he did nothing for Blacks. He did more for Latino and illegal aliens, DACA and LGBT, but nothing for Blacks. And unapologetically, he said, yeah, I couldn't do anything for Blacks. Just like Kamala says, I'm not going to do, the story. Kimberly, how you doing? Says, we are either going to sink or swim together. Come on now. Black Rose says, FBA, male and female have gone through the struggle together and must continue together. Yeah, we got to knock off the division, right? Patrice, how you doing? You says, greetings and salutations from OG Patrice. Yes, indeed. You can't handle the truth too. How you doing? Says, we are not citizens. Their policies have nothing to do with us. Well, I hear what you're saying. They don't. Essentially, their policies are against us type of thing. They're not to benefit us. Does it make sense? But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Angela, how you doing? I hope you're doing well. Says, hi, I miss you guys. We miss you too. Says, I've been hospitalized. What? And deaths in the family. Thanks for the truth. Okay, well, I hope that's a prayer over everybody. Lord, we ask for a healing right now, whatever it is. We ask that everybody be healed in your name, because there's a lot going on, right? So yes, just wish everybody a speedy recovery. Sunlight, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Cynthia says, personally, I agree with you, Donovan. And let's see. Woody, how you doing? He says, Demetra and Donovan love Trump. Well, we just, again, following behind your mama and your daddy. Your grandma got hair? Because if she don't, then your bald-headed granny too. Anyway, welcome.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, you got me. I love Trump. I live in California. I want these illegals out of here. So I got what I wanted for my vote. You're damn right. So I got what I wanted. He's doing exactly what I wanted him to do. Get these illegals up out of here.
Yeah, I mean, and even with that, I mean, again, that just assumes that Kamala was going to be better. You're going to be worse off. And we're worse off either way, right? But Kamala was not going to make things better for Black Americans at all. You know, I don't know why people are under the illusion that she would have. She wasn't. She said she wasn't, right? She begrudgingly, with her arm twisted behind her back, gave the black man something, right? And it was for everybody else. And she did that. Like, okay, do I got to give these dusty Negroes something? And yeah, that's how that came about. Angela, thank you so much for that. Love and appreciate you. Samuel says, correction, Demetri. Obama said he gave the Black community health care. Yeah, but he gave everybody else that too, right? But we talk, and of course, I know you know that. We're talking specifics. What did we get specifically? But a kick in the tailbone. You know what I mean? That's what we got.
Yeah, if you guys go back and look at interviews, you'll see President Obama talking about, that isn't how government works. We just can't do this specifically for a certain person or a certain group. But then he went and did DACA. He went and did LGBTQ. He did the Indian affairs thing like that. It's like he plays in our face on a national thing. And I'm going to say this, you guys, as a veteran. Do you know the number one group that gets discouraged from using their veterans benefits more than any other group in the United States? It's Black people. Because when the master says, no, okay, master, I'll just go away now. How many of y'all got uncles and grandfathers and stuff that are military veterans and they don't use their benefits? Because they have been brainwashed to accept what they shouldn't be accepting. The minute the white man says, no, okay then, master, I'll just go away. No, you're supposed to, continue to fight. The system is designed to say no. We're not persistent in the things that we pursue. That's our fault. I can't blame the white man. Demetri is a witness. I went through the VA system, and let me tell you, yes, I went through the no. But guess what? When that big check came and they finally said yes, because I didn't want to go away, life has been good ever since. That is our biggest problem. We are the first to just go away and just take what they tell. Here's some breadcrumbs, Negroes. Take that, and we're satisfied with that. But when we stand together and we say no, we're not going to take this anymore, like these other groups are doing. Maybe we would move the ball farther.
Yeah, and I've been trying to figure out a way to hit Donovan on his head for that big check that he got too. I just got to find the right moment and opportunity to do it. Ronnie says, I'm glad to catch the live with you and Donovan, and I agree with you guys. And Trump did what I wanted. He got the illegal immigrants out. Yeah, a lot of people will say that, or he's getting them out anyway, right? Because I think the goal was 2 million by the end of this year. Sounds like they're falling way short for a whole host of reasons. Because originally they said they were going to get the criminals out, right? But they're like, can you say something? Hola, get them, or whatever the case is. So it's kind of having an adverse effect on what Trump is trying to do with the mass deportations, because he's deporting, some of the homies, right? Some of their employees, like the corporations and things and the farms, and they're like, wait a minute now. Now doggone well, you a little too heavy-handed. We're deporting people, right? Because they're like, okay, we get it. Deport the criminals, but y'all deporting everybody. So then we don't have people. I don't know if y'all been following what's going on in North Carolina, but there's a lot of people didn't show up to schools and a whole host of things because now ICE is there. But they're like, now people aren't showing up to work. That's costing us money. And then eventually we're going to have to pass that on to the consumer, so I don't know. But yeah, Facts and Feelings says, when the master says now and call the cops on you to escort you out of the VA, it's another story. Oh, you mean when it says no? Wow. Mike, how you doing? Hope you're doing well today. One of my lovely moderators, Black Rose, says Trump bringing a hammer down on all but the Democrats only hurt FBAs. And then Kubri says, "Oh my!" And Obama gave police more protection. The blue alert. Mr. Duck Mallard, what's going on? He says, "No, the number one group that Donald Trump hates veterans, a black man and a veteran supporting Donald Trump. That's really hard to believe."
Let me say this: a lot of people are misinformed. You can hate Donald Trump all you want, but again, a lot of people, you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book or put it in writing. If you're not a veteran, and you probably don't know this because you don't care, because you just have this, I hate this man Trump, you're not listening to the facts. Do you guys realize it was Donald Trump that gave the authorization to veterans to outsource their health care rather than sitting there and dying, waiting on the government to provide the health care? That was Donald Trump that did that. Are you guys aware Donald Trump gave veterans and the VA the biggest raise ever in the history of the VA? You can hate Don. Like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter, but you got to call a spade, and it is what it is. You got to give them their flowers when you got to give them their flowers. I hate the Boston Celtics. I don't like LeBron James, but you got to give it to him. He's one of the top players of all time. And that's the problem. Everybody wants to just pile on a person because everybody else is doing it because you're not independently thinking. I don't care what Donald Trump is doing as a veteran. He has done more for veterans than any president before him.
Absolutely. And shout out to all the vets in the comment section and both of the vets here on the panel. And Kimmy says, I use all my benefits. Vets, go get your stuff. 100% PT rating. It says ID for commissary and base, GI Bill, Chapter 35 for dependents, free access to state parks. I know that's right. I'm waiting for my benefits to come through. Hello? Woody. Okay, you know what? Woody got to go. Woody, you have to go. Because you just have to go.
Yeah, and Spock 7525 needs to go too, because
let me see where's Spock at.
Yeah, he says, "Why do you and gay Donovan always pander for Trump? Okay, how would you know I'm gay? How would you know I'm gay? Wait. How would you know I'm gay unless you've been with me, Spoo?"
You know, they do say you do. People be out there protesting too much. How you know? How you know? What closet you been in? You know what I'm saying? And my thing is this. See, that's why I say I just stay up in my little enclave and I don't really go outside much because I don't want to run into people like that. You know, so what? Why are you worried about what another man is doing in his bedroom unless you want to be in there with him? It's okay. You know, Donovan is an attractive guy. You know, oftentimes you got to beat him off with a stick, right? But if you want to be and you find my friend attractive, just say that. That's it. Just say that. Whew. It could be so simple, but you rather make it hard. But some tell me you want it hard. Anyway. Cynthia says, so true. Black veterans are the most self-discouraging and the lowest when it comes to receiving their benefits. I'm good. Or they get declined once. Like, no, you definitely got something going on.
Yeah, and you know, and the sad thing is, you guys think about all the money that's left on the table because they will not go and get what they've earned. Think about those people that joined the military. You gave part of your youth up to serve this great country, and then you don't have the tenacity to get just what you're owed. That's it. We don't want no more than what we are owed. The government said, if you do this and you pick up this rifle and you put your life on the line for this country, we will take care of you. Why is it that the minute they say no, okay, and it's sad, and I see it all the time.
Yeah, and that's why, you know, kind of in lockstep with what we're talking about, we just got to learn how to change the mindsets of our people, right? Like, that's do you. Like, think about it. If I was a black veteran, I'm not really, I've been on a base or 2 or 5, okay? But just think about it. You're a black veteran. They wanted you to go, but when you came back, they didn't respect you, right? Think about our ancestors who went and fought in these wars and came back and was, you know, strung up in the uniforms and things like that. For me, just on the strength of that, I'm like, I'm gonna get mine on my back and my neck and my back, right? I'm getting mine, you know. But all that, they declined me once. Like, you ain't special. That's how it goes, right? The government's not going to say, well, what percentage do you think we should rate you at? How about 120? They're going to say, no, you seem fine to us. You up in there twitching and acting crazy and all that. They're like, no, you're fine. Just take some aspirin and you'll be okay.
You know, and here's another thing. Do you guys ever wonder how the white boy that grew up in the same neighborhood that you grew up in, or the Asians and the Hispanics, how you look at them and they say, wow, this guy just put down for a house. Do you know how they're doing it? They're going and serving in the reserves or the National Guard 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year to get that government housing stipend. And they're starting their first home. They stay in there a year, then they go get the home they want, and they become landlords and rent the first house out. That's what they're doing here in California. But then we see the Negroes out here talking about 4 to 5, 7 people in a 1-bedroom or studio apartment. And I'm not telling people to join the military. That ain't what I'm saying. I'm saying if you really want a house, how are you going to do it? And let's just say California, because that's all I can speak on. In California, when the median house is $800,000, so that means you got to come up with a down payment of at least $40,000 to $60,000 just for the down payment to get the ball rolling. How many of us have that in our bank accounts? If we all had that in our bank accounts, it wouldn't be a problem or a need for us to even talk about going in the military. But that's what these other groups are doing. A lot of these immigrants, and I got a buddy in San Diego right now, a Marine who didn't do his paperwork right. The only reason he joined the military, it was a fast track to citizenship. They are using the benefits that are there for Americans to their benefit, but we can't do it. It's like you said, it's a mindset.
Check it. How you doing? Says these are the same folks who are talking about tangibles and not voting. And I was about to choke. Maybe I was going to say something I ain't supposed to say it. And was now 800,000 black women are out of work. And we have a Supreme Court that says race doesn't matter anymore. You need the Supreme Court checking. And I see you talking about do all your research. You don't need to do no research to know that you don't need the Supreme Court to tell you that race doesn't matter, especially when it comes to you. That it's not that the job of the Supreme Court is to interpret the law, right? The Constitution only applies to black people, the 13th, 14th, and 15th, right? Slavery's over, sort of, kind of, right? You're a citizen, or the right to vote and all that other stuff. But you don't need the Supreme Court to tell you that. And you say 800,000 black women are out of a job. Well, how many black men are out of a job? See, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all be out there so smart, but you don't realize that you're being divided. Why is it just important that the black woman is out of a job? Before those 800,000 black women lost those jobs, there was more black men that didn't have no job. Now, I would argue that he should create a job for himself. But if we're talking about what the white man is giving out, the black man is still the most unemployed. So, yeah, it's a terrible thing that those black women lost their jobs. But as Farrakhan said, if you lost it, it was never yours in the first place. See, you one of those people, and I don't want to be too disrespectful. You want to keep on begging white supremacy in the Supreme Court and, these politicians to give us this massive, please, massive like, man, if you don't beat it, right? See, the conversation we need to be having is doing for self. Stop begging the oppressor to do for the oppressor is not going to do that. If his job is to keep you under his thumb, why would he lift it up? So 800,000 black women, and every time I hear somebody say that, I'm like, where are these talking points coming from? That it's black women, it's black women, it's black women. Well, does the black man, what does he, chop liver? The black man don't matter, right? But it's a black woman, I get it. I've lost a job before and it didn't feel good. So I'm not diminishing any of that. But the black woman, instead of saying, okay, yeah, I lost a job, but my black man lost one too, whether they together or not, and we should get together, right? She gonna go, yeah, the black woman lost it out. That's like the same talking point. The black woman is the backbone of the Democrat Party, but the black man votes right behind her, especially with Kamala. Yeah, it was 92% black women and 78% black men. So besides the black woman, the black man voted the most for Kamala. But yet y'all don't say nothing about him. Y'all want to keep talking about these 800,000 black women lost their jobs. Black women are some of the most resourceful people on the planet, right? We used to do a whole listen. And I'm always keep this up here, right? That's Madam C.J. Walker. She's a black woman, a black American woman whose people were right out of slavery. She's a washerwoman. She didn't say, oh, government, all these people ain't got no job. You need to give us a job. Because she had one. She just didn't like it. So she said, I'm going to create a job for me. And then I'm going to create a job for my people, black men and women. See, she wasn't running around talking, the black women, I'm going to get a black woman a job on a black woman. She said, all my people going to eat. If I can build something, all my people going to eat. So you need to lose that mindset because I'm not there no more. Respectfully. Whew. Rhonda, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for that. Says they don't want to put in the hard work. You're talking about the veterans. Yeah, the system. Like people think the system is, oh, yes, come on in. There's all this money is waiting just for you. No, that's not how it works.
Well, you know, I'm going to push back on that. Actually, I'm going to push back on that for the simple fact that I could see why they would think that it should be automatic, because when the Asians got their bill, right, there was no study. They didn't ask whatever. When the illegals came into the country, nobody said, let's study how much this is going to cost to house and feed and do all this for the illegals. They were just given the money. So I can see how some people could fall into the trap of, yeah, just, you know, it's going to be automatic. So, but you got to understand, white supremacy policy for black people is to make it as difficult as possible, because again, they understand we built the country, and if we rise, they lower. They know that.
And Sam, you say read your first comment. Can you retype it again? That way I don't have to go all the way back up to the top, if you don't mind me asking, because I really would love to read it. Jonelle, how you doing? You says maybe it's time to start supporting the Democrats again. I will say this. If there is going to be a Democrat that is going to do for Black Americans too, sure. I'm nonpartisan, right? I don't have a dog in the fight. Like, I'm loyal to the Democrats, or I'm loyal to. I don't have a dog in the fight like that. If a Democrat is gonna come and do what they say they gonna do, what they say they gonna do, right? They do that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Because I think that's kind of the way it should be. We should be fluid. We shouldn't be tied to one party. We shouldn't be tied to any party. We should all be independent. That way, if somebody comes along with something you like, will say, okay, that's my better interest. I'm going to vote for that. But supporting the Democrat Party just because the Republicans are doing the extreme, no. Because in a sense, that's how we ended up with Trump and them, because the Democrats were doing the extreme. And so, as I always talk about, we end up getting that pendulum, right? We keep swinging from the left to the right when it really should stop in the middle. Because as I say, the middle is where the common sense is. I believe that's where the independence is. Well, I'm going to do what they call utilitarianism, right? For the greater good. That's what I'm going to do. But both sides aren't doing that. They're doing for not even their own people. Because the Republicans now, the MAGA and them, they say one out of every 5 MAGA supporters or Republicans will lose their health care or on some sort of government subsidy. So it's not just, oh, I'm a Republican, I'm better. The Republicans, MAGA and them, they don't care about their people either. They care about their people.
And you heard your girl, Marjorie Greene, is going to be resigning. So that tells you a lot right there.
Yeah, and she, gave a pretty lengthy explanation, and it's weird because even Jasmine Crockett was like, well, I wish basically she wouldn't, that she would fight, even though they had their differences. But I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is not saying something. I think she probably really scared for her life or whatever the case is. I think she put forth a great effort, but I think she's also proven that the machine gonna do what the machine is gonna do, right? And she makes a valid arguments, but she participated in a lot of the foolishness that we see now. As she said, I was a OG MAGA. I was there when MAGA got started, and she championed people losing their lives and things like that over party lines. So, she had a lot to do with it. Big Rich, how you doing? Says, and this is why I love listening to her every day. Well, thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? Real quick to interject, I was reading Cassius Williams. He says, I fight for my benefits. The VA needs to pay what they owe. Exactly. And I just want to say this. I want you guys to imagine with me. Black World War II vets, because the VA didn't happen until after World War II. Black World War II vets, Korean vets, Vietnam vets, Desert Storm vets, all of these veterans that got discouraged from getting their housing and their benefits that they've earned. Do you guys know how much money that is over those generational lines? Talking about 60 or 70 years of money that was not utilized? How much wealth that was denied to the Black community? How many of you guys right now were raised in apartments, or with your aunt, you have to double up and stuff like that? Dimitri, it would have to be over $4 to $5 trillion that was stolen out of the Black community just from the veterans alone. Just from the veterans alone. And how many of you guys have loved ones that were veterans that lost their lives to a medical condition that could have been fixed if they had the VA health care, if they did this or did that? It could have prolonged their life. We are our own worst enemy. Like I said, we know what the white man's going to do, but when are we going to take responsibility for what we have to play in it? What was that your mom used to say all the time? Nothing beats a
fail but a try.
A fail but a try. And you got to keep fighting. You got to keep fighting. You mean to tell me these veterans can go over there and fight and attack whoever the white man tells them to attack like an attack dog, but then we come home to our very peace and we won't fight for ourselves? That's a shame.
Exactly. We built civilizations and things for everybody else, but we won't do it for ourselves. And I check it. I've been reading your comments. I mean, you said in 10 years, people are going to regret, I guess, maybe asking Trump to do this, that, and the other. I mean, opposed to what? You act like things were better before Trump got in office for Black Americans. It wasn't. There was never a time in America that it was better for Black people. Never. Never. Right? But that's the illusion of, if we just vote for the seat, Kamala was going to make us comfortable. Kamala was going to be, as I say, that NyQuil for Negroes. Here, there. Take a nice little heaping, a spoonful of it, and everything is just go back to sleep. That's all you're going to do, is just going to be comfortable with, not having to do for self. But see, we've been told to do that for a very long time. Do for self. Stop expecting all these people to come do for us, because we have the ability to do it ourselves. But we were going to get to this point anyway, regardless of who was in office. We were going to have to wake up and say, stop begging these folks to do for us what we should be doing for ourselves. Now, I'm not talking about reparation. That is due us, right? But in the meantime, there's things we're supposed to be doing. Sammy says, my Black Chicago family, we've to unify and get code, practice group economics, and do for self. No one is going to save us. The wake-up call, I should have just read your comment, right? It's overdue. It's no savior. No white man is coming to save us. It's not. He doesn't want to. I mean, he's at a point to where he can't save himself now, right? Don't get it confused, with, they got all the money and the power. He can't save himself from what's coming. He can't. So us asking him, that's why they doing all the stuff they doing with this legislation. When I say they, I mean both sides of the aisle. That's why they're doing the stuff that they're doing, because they're trying to save themselves, but you can't save yourself from what you got coming to you, right? So while we're asking them, save us, they can't save themselves. We got to save ourselves, right? Yes, Conscious Rose, I like that. Beg God, not man. Sinead, how you doing? Says, thank you, Dimitri and Donovan, for all you do. All your content is very knowledgeable about what is going on in the world today. So take a bow, you deserve it. Well, thank you. Arniba, he says, if the Democrats didn't cheat by robbing the Sanders, he says Trump would have never become president. So you're talking about Bernie Sanders. Yeah, but Bernie, he transitioned to a Democrat. He's an independent. So, if he would have probably stayed independent, I don't know, he might have had a better shot. I don't even hear Bernie Sanders talk about being an independent anymore, And thank you, Mike, for reminding people that there's ways to donate to the channel. Neighborhood Watchers, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a grifter terrified by a crazy magazine. I think that is the truth, too. I think that's exactly what happened. I think something spooked her, right? She's probably like, yeah, let me go and shut my mouth, But
see, that's on both sides, though. Dimitri, and we were there at the grassroots level. We saw how government really works. There's a lot of white envelopes being passed around. And let's say you're a lifelong Democrat, and let's say you say, I'm going to do something for my community, and you want to run. It takes money to run. So guess what you're going to do? You're going to go to the Democratic Party and say, hey, I've been a Democrat all my life. I voted all my life. And what's the first thing that they do when you go there? They give you a clipboard, and they want to see where your leanings are. And if you aren't with what they want you to do, you ain't getting no money, and they're escorting you out of the building. As simple as that. They will pick and choose who will do their bidding. And that's all they will support. And that's on both sides of the aisle. This is how government works. But see, too many of us watch movies and we think, oh, the good guy is always going to smite their enemies. And, you know, all the president's men and all these movies that show political rightness. And at the end of the movie, the good guys win. That isn't reality. Reality is what we're seeing right now in our faces. The bad guys are winning and they're stuffing money in their pockets. Think about that congressman down in Florida. How do you take $5 million of FEMA money and channel it into your campaign? How do you do that? In real time. And she's talking about she's innocent. And she is, by the pretense of the law. You got to give her the benefit of the doubt and the pretense of the law. She's innocent until proven guilty. But remember that Louisiana congressman like 20 years ago, they found like $90,000 in his freezer?
My thing is this. I don't know if the lady innocent or not, but it's like y'all keep seeing people who look like y'all especially get roped up, right? You know, if she did it, it's like, why? They gonna find out you can't move that kind of money, especially if you black and you got the pen to the checkbook. They watching you. You can't move that type of money. Talking about oops, because then she say something like, "Oh, it was kind of accidentally something happened to it." It's like
she gave money to her family that donated back to her, you know, which is money laundering in a sense, and
called commingling.
Yeah, and remember, you're a banker. Remember, sometimes when the bank would put a bunch of money in somebody's account by mistake. You're not supposed to spend that money or move it. You're supposed to let it sit there and stuff because they're going to come get their money. And that's how she got caught. The government said, oops, we put this money in the wrong account. And she took it out of there, or her staff, whatever, and they moved it to her family members and stuff. It's deep, but she's innocent until proven guilty, but doesn't look good.
Yeah. Cynthia says, Dimitri, I was told that a lot of black women refuse to go to work in the office for whatever reason was. They also lost their jobs too. My sister went back to the office. See, that's very interesting, you know, because from what I understand, they did call a lot of federal workers back. So that's an interesting point of view. And why wouldn't they want to go back? You know, I want to work from home. I mean, I like to work from home too, but if it's a choice between not working and working at the office, well, I guess I'll just be hanging out by the water cooler. And Timothy, you said that you think Marjorie is going to be running for governor of Georgia. Yeah, because I don't see Trump putting up with that either. You know, if indeed, you know, he's organizing against her, things like that. He damn sure ain't gonna let her be no governor, because you know that's where he was trying to pull the strings allegedly. In Georgia with the last, not this election, but the last election, where you know Fani and her man was trying to you know, put him on trial. So like says, how will the black community get white envelope money? That should be our focus before engaging in politics at any level. Whoever funds you runs you. Yeah. And to that, I mean, we got money already. We just giving it away, right? We got about $1.62 trillion in our community, giving 97% of that away. So nobody is making us do that, right? Now, some of that may be because we don't have businesses and things like that. But if we were just to keep 10% of that in our community instead of the 3%, we can move mountains. So they're never going to give us a white envelope right now, right? But when the black community really starts to organize and say, hey, we're going to keep our money from this oppressive system, then the system's going to say, what is it that the Negro wants now? Reparations? Yeah, because over time it'll be cheaper for them to give us reparations than us withholding our stuff from them.
Well, think about it like this. You got these super mega churches, these pastors making all this money. You've got all these entertainers and sports entertainers that have all this money. I mean, the money's there. We have the money. But again, we don't consolidate and we don't support our own. That's the whole thing. You know, I get to did you guys realize that the black economy is the backbone of the economy of the United States? When black people stop buying, that's when the recession starts. When the black people stop buying and start, you know, targeting certain things, that's when these corporations panic. We are the backbone of the economy. That's why they keep us at the bottom.
It's all by design, and we just keep on, oh, Massa, won't you save us today, Massa? And boy, if I was Massa, I'd be like, they got all that power in their hands and they pocket their bank accounts, all that, and they begging us, leave them sleep. You know, GHJF, how you doing? He says, Trump is trying to save Black America from the illegal, the immigrant Latino invasion, but the Democrats are in the way. No, he's not. Trump is not trying to save Black Americans from nothing. Trump ain't even trying to save his own people from nothing. Trump is about Trump at the end of the day. Trump is he's a capitalist in every sense of the word, right? He's the machine. He is, you know, really trying to become the king, I think, of the oligarchy or whatever, but he's not trying to do that. He's basically trying to keep, you know, as they say, they're trying to make it white again. I keep seeing these narratives. Oh, well, you know, the America, the illegal immigrants have come over here. They're invading. It's like, you're an illegal immigrant. We're talking about you. I'm talking about white people. You aren't indigenous to the United States. So he is not trying to save us at all. He is trying to go into with the theory of the white nationalists. Let's keep it white. Let's whiten it back up. But it's like, listen, y'all are minority all over this planet.
Yeah, he's a second generation. He's a second generation American. His grandfather immigrated here, so he's fairly new himself.
Yeah, you know, so, but he's not, you know, he's not, he doesn't care about Black Americans as much as he cares about white people. And that's why I always say white supremacy hates white people too, right? Supremacy means that you are supreme. And there's a lot of white people that Trump and them don't think that are supreme. If that was the case, there wouldn't be a Republican or a MAGA, anybody without food stamps or Medicare or whatever it is, if they thought all white people were the same. They don't. Right. Reynard, he says, Demetri, many Black folks just want to be comfortable, and those seeking comfort instead of survival will lose both. Yep.
You can't handle the truth too, says Democrats letting all the immigrants in to replace us. But here's the thing, you know, I hear that argument all the time. Let me ask you this. I've been to New York, I've visited, and they've got all the different boroughs, right? Can you be a Black person from Boogie Down Brooklyn and go into the Jewish borough and like move in there? You can technically, but will they let you? Not really. You know, could you go into the Dominican area? Not really. The only group of people that allow other people to come into their community is the Black community. Did you guys realize that? That's why the immigrants are thrown into our communities. Have you heard of the Dominican community complaining about the illegal immigrants? Because, well, I've heard them complaining about it because they don't even want them. But my point is this. If we controlled our communities like we're supposed to and work together like we're supposed to, we shouldn't be letting other groups come into our community willy-nilly like that. We shouldn't be allowing that. The Black community is the only community where you can take a bunch of Asians and throw them in there, give them businesses and whatever. Black people will patronize them and do all this other stuff. Then they will move out of the Black neighborhood and form their own community to where Black people can't even thrive there. You can't even open a business in an Asian community because they won't patronize you. We're the only group that does that. Every other group pushes others outside, even the Africans. And Demetri, you're there in Houston. There's a thriving African community right there in Houston. And they live among themselves. Little Haiti, little Nigeria, wherever you want to call it. Where's Blackville? Where's FBAville? Doesn't exist. Because we let other people come into our communities, they take the communities over, then they push us out, and then we're out here flailing and talking about, oh, I'm going down back to the South, back to the motherland. Okay, great. But that's what happens.
Absolutely. You know, so a lot of the stuff that we do is self-inflicted. And then we want to cry and talk about somebody, please help us. You know, it's like, stop doing it to yourself first. You know, it's like me poking myself in the eye. I need somebody to stop me from poking myself in the eye. Ow, 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 ow. Cynthia says the Black buck is the backbone of our communities, but I still can't understand how and why immigrants are getting elected into political seats because we just didn't know. We were told, and in theory, right? In theory, you know, you have this Pan-African thing, and ideally it should work, but it doesn't right now because Black Americans, we got work to do on our own. So with that, in my opinion, I just think we were kind of all thinking, oh, well, Black like me, you might think like me. But now we're realizing, and that ain't necessarily the case, right? We're starting to really see how that's been working out, that they've helped everybody but us. Arson, how you doing? Hope you're doing well this fine evening. It's okay about your last comment. The neighborhood, you says, I've heard it all. Daddy Trump gonna save us, please save us. I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't neighborhood watch. I don't know what you are. I'm assuming you're a black man. I don't know. Maybe. For me, maybe it's the woman in me. I don't know. I don't have a lot of respect for a man if that's what you are. I don't have any respect for a man who's scared of other men. It creeps me out. A man who will open his mouth or his thumbs and admit that he's afraid of another man. I just like the Mojave Desert. And I don't go too more into detail into that, but yeah, it's just not an attractive trait for a man to be biting his nails off and knees knocking together. Ooh, why are you afraid of Trump? Why weren't you afraid of Biden? Hell, Biden did more damage to the black community than Trump has done. Were you biting off your nails to the nubs? Then was it, weak in the knees then? Was you hiding behind your mama skirt then? If the answer is no, then why are you doing it now? And if you're so scared, what you gonna do about it? You gonna go run up under the bed? Like two little eyes blinking in the dark? Like, what are you gonna do about it? If Trump is gonna do something to you, what are you gonna do about it? Oh, nothing? So then what you're doing here is just a waste of time. I don't care. Honestly, I don't care, that you're afraid that I'm more sad that you're afraid as a man. I think that's what you are, that you're afraid of another man. I don't know how any woman, let me shut up because I would go too far. Dear substance bleed down, Bronx Donovan, and we can't. He said New York City is heavily segregated. They said that New York is like one of the original melting pots, right? So I mean, it's probably the melting pot of America as people, travel to Ellis Island to immigrate here and things like that. So yeah, New York is very unique, I would say. Tahida, how you doing? I know I said your name wrong, but forgive me. Hope you're doing well. Kimmy says, right, stop letting them come in and put all the liquor stores, beauty shop, supply stores, Arab gas stations. Yeah, well, that's the city council that lets them do that. City council, city planning meeting, they allow them to do that. They say, oh, we want to set up a liquor store. Well, we know a spot. Why? Because we don't show up. Right, we show up again when we hear that they already put the last nail into the liquor store, and we go up in there. What you mean? We don't need no more liquor stores. And it's like, well, where was you at when the planning committee and they was all up in here, the Arabs, whatever it is? Hey, we want to open up. Where was y'all at then to say no? Because that's what the white folks do. I've seen it myself. But like, the hell you will. You not. We don't need it's a San Bernardino, as a matter of fact. They were trying to put a marijuana shop in the neighborhood. They said, like hell you will. But then we show up talking about, oh, we don't need enough. It's done. The ink is dry.
The vote took place 3 months ago. 3 months ago. And, it's like when they see the shovel in the ground, that's when we react. We're like, what's going on here? Oh, they're putting a weed shop. What? Yeah, it was approved 4 months ago. Where were you at?
Yeah, they like, just go to the grand opening. You'll be there, L. And if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, Dimitri, you should have a call and show. I used to used to let people call in, but people be doing too much sometimes. I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, the conversation goes somewhere totally like
yeah, I like to do it. I just, most people do act right, but it be that one. But I love to do that one day. I have to figure out how to do it safely. Hi, Techie says, wrong about Dominicans. They've always lived around blacks, and most are black themselves. Yeah, but they don't want you to remind them of that, from what I understand. A lot of them don't,
Well, no. I specifically remember, and I go to the Dominican Republic a lot. If you go to the Dominican Republic, they say they're Dominican. They're not black. They're Dominican. Now, we know their history, but they say, they're Dominican, right? But now that ICE is on the rampage in the United States, what are the Dominicans saying now? Oh, me black. Me black. Me no Dominican, me black. We all the same. That's what they're saying now. But see, they delineate once they get here. This is why I don't believe in Pan-Africanism for myself, because Black Americans are the only ones that practice it. Nigerians delineate, Kenyans delineate. They all delineate from everything else. We're the only ones that practice, in my opinion, Pan-Africanism. They don't practice it.
Yeah, like I said, in theory, Pan-Africanism would be the way to go. It's a utopia at this point, but to your point, yeah, We're kind of one of the only ones that believe in it. Everybody else have already delineated. Now, we've been told to delineate before. This is not new, but we're now starting to get the concept because, again, like somebody said, when we vote immigrants, Black immigrants per se, in the office, we just didn't really know that they really weren't for us. We just were assumed, oh, you Black like me, right? You know, and all that. But it's like, yeah, we may look the same, but do we think the same? And obviously we don't, because we don't come from the same set of circumstances. So if you come from the DR, whatever the case is, if you're Dominican, you're used to having superiority, especially over the Haitians, right? It's just the way it is. So of course, when they come over here and they see us, they're like, oh, well, they like the Haitians. I'm not Black, you know. So yeah, when everybody else gets it in there, see, more people want to practice Pan-Africanism now outside of Black Americans, because especially if you over here, it's like, wait a minute, where the Blacks? Oh, now y'all want to sit with us, because before we couldn't sit at the same table with y'all. You know, you're not Black, this, that, and the other. Again, and I don't have a problem with anybody, but we've heard these testimonies come from people. Well, we told when we go to America to stay away from Black Americans, right? Especially some from the continent. They were told go get together with some white people or whatever, but stay away from the Black Americans. And like, then they get over here and they see the white folks ain't trying to hang out with you either. They, probably really more so ain't messing with you like that. I'm not saying this, but they think that, right? You can look on the news and they'll tell you that y'all still living in jungles. I mean, Elon Musk daddy said that. Or if it wasn't for us, they'd still be living in the jungles. Like, you saltine, who did you go get from the jungle? But that's how they think, especially about the people in the motherland. So I don't know. Ward, how you doing? And let's see, Lil, how you doing? Ward just says both major parties are toxic as far as the interests of Black Americans and the rest of the working class are concerned. Very true. Rich, how you doing? So Black people know how to fist fight, which is the easiest thing to do, but Black people don't know how to mentally fight as a collective. Yeah. But that's why we're going to start having more of these conversations. Like I said, I'm going to start shifting my commentary a little bit more to us and changing our mindset, right? In a sense, like they say in the nation, becoming more civilized. That's all of us, right? It's not I'm more civilized than you. It's all of us to become civilized. And that's the way we're going to do that, is just start having the conversations, because as student minister Ishmael Muhammad said, it's cool in theory, I guess, to talk about everybody else and what they doing. But when we start talking about everybody else, then we don't focus on us. So we have to focus on us. Everybody else got their own issues going on, but we got our own issues going on too. That needs our attention. So yeah. James, you said pull you up. You want me to pull you up? Kimmy says when you get a dog, where the cat. Donovan been had a dog. Donovan keep him a dog. Grace Kelly says Black people did not welcome them back in the day. There used to be repercussions. And M says these elders and alders rather in Chicago are as dumb as a box of rocks because they have pulled out the red carpet for their replacement. Yeah, well, see, the rub is they thought that Black Americans were done. They thought that somehow the immigrants are going to come over here, and because they were having these conversations about how to get them to be able to vote. Well, that didn't happen. A lot of people obviously voted Trump in. It's like, no, you ain't going to be replacing me. Again, Trump's motives are self-serving, but we, in a sense, get the remnants of that.
Yeah. How many of you guys remember when Biden was elected, but he hadn't sworn into office yet? Remember when he was talking to the Black Boule and he said that you need to get behind the Mexicans and the Hispanics or something like that? To me, it's like they already had the plan in hand of what they were going to do. Because why, you think about it now, looking at it as a Monday armchair quarterback, why would he say that? And he hadn't even taken office yet, but he's telling Black people to get behind the Hispanics and the Mexicans. It's very strange.
Absolutely. Somebody said hello to Jessica. I was looking for Jessica, but again, on my end, the names are kind of skewed all around and things like that. Scoopy says, I've only ever been afraid of two things: God and my granny. Your granny must not be nothing nice, right? And for that, I don't blame you. Let's see, going all the way back down to where I was. Rose, she says, all the dog, they like your dog. You can't handle the truth. Says, long live Seneca Village. Amy says, Okay, I read that already. So let me go down. Marjorie says, I wonder how much money does these Arabs, Asians, African stores give the city governments in order to stay afloat in the Black communities? If they don't pay, do the loan sharks come? Well, they pay taxes and stuff. I don't think they necessarily have to give them anything per se. They just don't want them in their neighborhood. You know, a business is a business. They have to pay taxes and things like that. Just put them in a Black neighborhood because, for one, they're not going to show up. The protests, you know, yeah, y'all could put in 100 weed shops, checking the cashes, pawn shops, and they'll never know until the grand opening is going on. So it's I don't know if they get shaken down per se. It's just they don't want them in their neighborhood. So they're like, squeeze in over there between Popeyes and the Gold Shop, you know.
Yeah, because remember, Demetria, when we had that at my city council, and the big issue was a gas station. They didn't even want the gas station in their neighborhood. They were like, no, we don't want the gas because of what it attracts, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can test that theory out anywhere in America. You can go to the suburbs where them people live. You can see they might got like a Chevron or something, you know, something like that. But they ain't got no gas station hooked to no weed shop, hooked to no chicken shack. You know, the multi-conglomerate stores, and like Donovan said, because they attract a certain element. And they don't want that there. They don't have a whole bunch of Dollar Trees and, you know, things like that, the pawn shops, the gold shops. They don't have all that in there. They got the nice little Whole Foods and Targets and all that kind of. They'll put a Walmart in the Black neighborhood, and unfortunately, it does dilapidate the mom and pop businesses when they do that. But again, we have to be a little bit more politically mature and figure out what are they doing at City Hall that may affect me, because you can best believe whatever they planning on is going to affect Black folks first. It just is.
Yeah, you guys want to hear something crazy? In my district, I'm in District 1 in my city. We have 5 districts and an overall mayor, right? And he's really a symbolic mayor. Those of you guys don't know, a city manager, if you have a city manager, that's who runs your city. The city council and the mayor are ceremonial. That's all they're there to do, is run meetings and approve whatever the city manager ideas are. On Sunnymead Boulevard, Demetria, yeah, and you know the beginning of Sunnymead Boulevard, as you go down Sunnymead Boulevard, past Heacock, and I'm in the oldest district in my city. Okay, I'm in the oldest district. My city started from where I live, basically by the base. They have a weed shop next to a liquor store. Who the hell would approve something like that? You're going to put a liquor store and a weed shop right next to each other. And then the next block over, there's another. Matter of fact, there is 6 weed shops in that vicinity within a fourth of a mile of each other. But why would you put a weed shop and a liquor store right next door to each other? Recipe for disaster. But in the Black neighborhoods or the poor neighborhoods or the older neighborhoods, this is where they stick that stuff.
Well, the answer is really simple. For one, you put that in the neighborhood because it's easy to do. And the second one is keep them high, keep them drunk, keep them weird out their brains, right? Keep them not focusing and thinking about what it is they should be doing. You keep them, you know, lifted up with spirits and things like that. Then, you know, we first of all, then they're going to commit some crimes. They're going to, you know, fill up these beds in these prison systems that we have. So, yeah, it's a vice. That vice is there on purpose. But the other thing is, too, even if they put that in there, we ain't got to go up in there, but we do, because they know they know what how to get us. So that's mostly, I think, why they do it. Keep them in La La Land.
And guess who owns these weed shops and these liquor stores? We already know the Arab, and I'm not trying to stereotype anything, but we all know that these are the people that own these shops within our communities. Ask yourself this. If you go to their communities, do you see any liquor shops where they live in their communities? Absolutely not. But in our communities, they open their businesses in our communities to help destroy our communities. And we don't even question it. Very scary.
Absolutely. And Common Man, how you doing? Corey, what's going on with you? It says Simo. I've seen a couple other people. Arsen says, I was going to ask a few questions, but I must address what you said. You said other Blacks, quote unquote, says have their neighborhoods, etc. Are you saying you're not welcome there couldn't open a business or what? Well, I didn't say that, but
no, let me answer. No, what I'm saying is, no, you have a right to open a business anywhere you want to. They can't stop that. But let's be real about this. If you open a chicken shop, a fried chicken shop in an Asian community, do you actually think you will make enough revenue and they're going to patronize your store in their neighborhood? It's not going to happen. They're not going to patronize your store. But they can open up a Chinese food thing in our neighborhood and we're going to patronize it. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, they will marginalize whatever business you have in their community. They're not going to support it. But we will support their businesses.
And it's essentially, they're not supposed to, just like we're not supposed to. You're supposed to support your own. We don't support our own. There could be a foreign business in our neighborhood, and it could be a Black American business across the street, and we won't even go over there. You got to be told, hey, your people got a shop over there, right? Oh, well, I'm gonna get over there. I just because I'm going there real quick. Then I'll go over there and see what they got. And it's like, no, that should be the other way around. And then again, we cry, 800,000 Black women lost their jobs. Well, why 800,000 Black women? At least half of them can't create their own jobs, or do we cry about these other businesses? They won't hire us. Oh, they set up in our community. They won't hire us. Okay, great. They won't hire us. But then why are you taking your Black self in there with your Black dollars and buying anything out of somewhere that won't hire you? It doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, I don't know, maybe because I'm getting older. Not old, but I'm just getting older. Sometimes I be thinking about stuff. I'm like, are people really mad about that? Are people really mad that other groups of people won't do for us or won't let us when we could either not go into those stores or whatever it is, or we could just do for self? Something's just weird, really weird to me. But I get it because we've been conditioned to think that we are powerless. There's nothing we can do without the help of the oppressor, right? And every once in a while, they might give us a little crumb or something. We think, oh my God. Like, for example, all those Black women that lost their jobs at the in Washington, that was, oh gosh, the oppressor gave us a job. Well, if you could take it, it wasn't really yours. We should be about the business of, building our own things. After slavery and stuff, then white women came and got Black women. Hey, listen. I ain't really have to raise my children like that, okay? So what I need you to do is come in my house every day. I need you to cook. I need you to clean. I know my husband gonna try to touch you every once in a while, but listen, he don't mean no harm, right? So they came and got the Black woman. And as I said, my grandmama, both of them was domestics, where they, worked in white folks' homes and raised their children and all that other stuff. So I'm not saying anything that my people didn't do, but that's what Black women did, and then. But I'm saying all that to say, if those white folks needed those good Black women to come in there, is because they believed in what they could do. Now, what if we do that same thing for our own community, right? Because I guarantee you, not say anything about my grandmothers or anybody else's grandmothers who were domestic, but those children were well behaved. So if we come from that lineage of women who were in those homes and making sure those white children were clean and they were well behaved, yes, ma'am, no, sir, we could do that for our own. Right? We need to be doing that more so. I don't know. Hey, more threads. How you doing? Hope you're doing well this fine evening. Long time no see. Hope everything is well with you. Marcella, how you doing? And what you cooking for dinner? It says, is there a liquor store and weed stores right next to a church? Oh, you could best believe it. Somewhere. Oh, yes. Okay. You're going to leave out of there, getting you a little grape juice and crackers, and then you're going to go over to the liquor store.
It's funny that somebody mentioned that because, yes, Maricho, there's about 6 weed shops within 1/4 of a mile, and there's churches in the Black community. Yes, there's weed shops right next door to a church. You got that right. And some of the I've seen some of the big hat gang creeping over there to get their little touch.
You better leave mother so and so on them alone. Okay, it's been a hard week. Tiffany say Democrats are in charge of the zoning of liquor stores and weed shops. We don't elect the other party to place the blame either. Yeah, because a lot of our cities are ran by Democrats. Most Black cities are blue. So that's the stuff that they allow to go into our neighborhoods. Give them another weed shop. They'll go in there buy, And we Brandon, how you doing? Says I'm agreeing with Donovan. Common Mary say, yep. Let's see. And Cynthia says, I personally fought with the late Councilman Eric Mays on the amount of liquor stores and weed shops in our already Black, broken, poverty-stricken communities. Yeah, but see, if politicians, I don't care who they are, put those in our communities, we should say, nah, I'm good. I'm good. You know, more Thursday say, hi, Demetri finally caught alive after months. Other are getting the Black treatment under Trump. They thought we would suffer only. Somalis are next as Trump is taking their deportation protection. Yeah, and you know, they mad about it. Was in Minnesota and all that. All the Somalis up there. And of course, they mad at Ilhan Omar. Boy, they can't stand her. So, yeah, they are. They own them. Because it really is. They mad at the Muslims. Talking about, how is it that they could come into America and take over America? It's like, y'all did it. You know, so they got this big thing against the Christians and the Muslims now. Oh, the Christians and the Muslim is like, boy, I tell you, all the stuff that white folks did under Christianity, and y'all got the nerve to be pointing at somebody else in their religion. You know, I don't know what their beef is with Muslims, you know, and it's kind of always been a beef, I guess, between Christians and Muslims, but white Christians are trying to take the high road as if they are righteous. Now, you know, if you read the Bible, it says your righteousness is like filthy rags. Okay, but somehow they don't think that theirs is. But thank you once again. Love and appreciate you for that. Let's see, Detroit forever. How you doing? Says my Black majority in Detroit, but the Caldines own 95% of the mom and pop markets. Says practically in the gas station, all the gas stations and corner mini markets. Something is wrong with this picture. Well, they know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. That's probably what that is, right? I don't know. I guess I've learned how government works. One of my favorite movies is LA Confidential. And it talks about that, how it's about Los Angeles in like the 1940s, 50s, I think it is 50s. And it talks about how intertwined everybody is with everybody, right? The criminals and the police, the city council, they're all just intertwined. So it kind of makes sense that they probably know somebody. They probably like, here's a white envelope. We're going to get that store over there. Just say yes. That's usually how it works. But yeah. Common Man says, because African Americans depend on the Democrats' aid to keep them alive. Demetri, we're just like the Africans on the continent of Africa to the Democrats. Yeah, we do. The Africans on the continent, they, like you said, depend on some help. And it's like, y'all the majority over there. You know what I mean? Over here, we're not, but we got a lot of money that we just give away. Again, we've been conditioned to just beg for help. Oh, help us like you to help. You've been a help to everybody else. You've been, the maids, the butlers, we've helped everybody. We've built, America. We've built civilizations. And we talk about help. That don't even sound right. Help us. When you've helped everybody else, you can't help yourself. But again, I know that was taught to us. You can help everybody else but yourself. It's like you said, Donovan, you ain't going to feed everybody else's kids and not feed yours. That's like you getting in the water, you drowning, but listen, bubbly, 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 but let me go help you. And bubbly, bubbly, bubbly. It's like, you ain't gonna swim your black ass to the river and pray for everybody else, right?
Yeah, it's like being on an airline. What does the stewardess tell you? Make sure you put your mask on first before you try to help anybody else. Because you're going to be unconscious, trying to help somebody else, and it's going to make the situation worse. I do not know a mother in the United States, no matter what her background is, that will feed another child over her own.
Harken onto his voice, he says, how much influence does the nation have over all these topics? And which nation are you speaking of, if you don't mind me asking? Rich, you say they got those specific Black females, I believe, because the Caucasian thought they were docile and will crap on Black men, and it ran its course. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. I know, my grandmothers, both of them were married, so they had Black men or whatever, which also kind of dispels the myth that, the Black woman never had to work. A lot of those Black women had husbands, but that may or may not have been the case. But I think in essence, they just needed jobs, and that wasn't so far-fetched from the plantation. My dad's mom was born in 1919. My mama's mama was born in 1927. So it wasn't even 100 years after slavery. So you think about it, their moms were probably, or, my great grandmothers were probably domestics and so on and so forth. So it's kind of like the job type, I guess the job for, Black women, sort of, kind of. I know we did other things, but I think that was kind of the basic expectation of a job. you go and work for white folks and things like that. But I don't know if it's because they thought they were docile. I just think that's the job that our people used to do on the plantation. And the white folks never did that. I mean, I ain't gonna say too much because I'm gonna get in trouble on here. But you know, they came and asked our people to come help them because they weren't. They did. I mean, hell, they had our women breastfeeding their babies. So you know, they weren't as maternal as black women back then. I mean, think about it. You got a slave woman or somebody breastfeeding your own child and all of that. They weren't maternal. So when the plantation opened up, like y'all could go, they was like, "You mean I'm losing Bertha?" So yeah.
Yeah. And then you got to think about it also like this. Those jobs that the Democrats keep talking about that Americans don't want to work, who do you think those jobs went to before all this mass immigration started happening here in the United States? We had bus porters, we had train porters, we had, you know, the sky caps at the airlines. Who do you think mostly took those entry-level jobs? Those were black jobs. I mean, they weren't great jobs, but that's where we started at. So now you bring these other people in to do those jobs. And what jobs are we supposed to work if you don't have any formative skills? What jobs are we supposed to work?
Yeah, and if you read the Miseducation of the Negro, that's what Carter G. Woodson was telling us we need to be doing anyway. We need to revolutionize those things, right? Making them the corporations and things like that, because that's what we did. But for whatever reason, we didn't. We went off and got other degrees and things that we could use, but really didn't use, type thing. And we let the things that the industry part of us go to the wayside. And here we are. You know, try to find somebody that can build a house from scratch. I ain't talking about Donovan, you know, or do plumbing or something like that. Most men nowadays, not y'all, I'm talking about them over there. If they got something wrong in their house or something wrong with their car, they got to call somebody. Oh, let me go call a mechanic. It's like, what happened to you? You don't know how to do any of these things, you know?
Right. And these dudes got women. Back in the day, if you couldn't bring something tangible, you know, for a woman, like you can fix a house, you can, you know, build a house, or you can fix a car. Even in the modern age, Demetra, if you got a dude, he can't even change your oil on the car. I used to tell my nieces that. What is the point of you having a man and he can't even change the oil in the car that you let him ride around in?
Yeah, he can't even change his mind. Cynthia, thank you so much for that love and appreciate you. Says Flint is definitely a Democrat city, and look what happened to our water supply. There you go. Got to keep it where the truth is, right? So Harkin says the NOI. So he basically asks how much influence do they have? Oh, a lot. And I don't know you know, but yeah, I was born into the Nation of Islam. My father's been FOI in the NOI since he was 19. He's 81 years old, so it has a lot of influence on a lot of the things that I do and say. So yeah, it has a lot because it's just the truth. It's the truth. It's basic truth. But I think unfortunately for us, especially in the Black community, we've gotten away from basic truth. We've gotten used to the truth, as they always say. It was Carter G. Woodson, you know, Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all of them. You know, the white man is ice is colder. So we think that if the white man says it, it's the truth. But if a black man says it, you know, the Nation of Islam, who told you that? Well, who told them that?
You know, I want to read this from Kimmy Rochelle, longtime listener. She says, "You can't ride me if you can't maintain this ride." Go ahead, girl, from fellow veteran, making it plain, sister. Common sense.
That was my little twerk dance. I mean, I'm just saying, you read it, I heard it. That's it. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Okay. Can't hear you.
Yeah, Kimmy, I'm watching the Cowboys. It's 1 minute, 44 seconds left, 21-21 against the Eagles. So the Cowboys got the ball and they're driving. So we can pull it out. But as a long-suffering Cowboy fan, I keep my expectations low.
I got you, homie. I got you. Renari said, Demetra Donovan, people only treat you the way you let them. Black people are treated the way they are because they allow it. Yeah, we've been taught to allow that, though. You have to just hope and pray and keep hope alive. And no, you don't. You tell them to beat it. High Tech says, okay, so you're talking to Black Rose. Let's see. Common Man. You say if African Americans got the same pay that white Americans make, we'd outright own a major part of America, Demetri K. They don't want that. Yeah, but we got money that come in and out of our communities. Like I said, if you think I'm lying, I'm telling you right now, it's going to blow your mind. Right now, Black Friday will be here next Friday. Just go sit in the mall. Go sit. You can bring your own cup of water. Okay, you ain't got to spend no money. Just go and sit if you can find parking, because it's going to be hard to find. Go and sit in the middle of the mall and see how many of us go up in there. Oh, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to be a lot of us in there. Go see how many of us go up in there. And then say, well, how much money do we have? Well, hell, we got enough to go give Ralph Lauren and then Gucci and Uchi and not Gucci. Get him money, but then we'll talk about how we ain't got none. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, if you think I'm lying, just go test that theory. Go sit smack dab in the middle of the mall and watch all of us. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to do that. It's your right, but at the same time, collectively, we talking about we ain't got it. I need somebody. If we just vote, keep hope alive. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Gerald, how you doing? It says, took the man out of the family. Their GI trade, bingo. I mean, yeah, the man was taken out. The man, it's a lot. Like, it's a loaded conversation. But we need to get to talk about get the man back in the family, you know, get the black woman and the black man back together again, you know, like Roberta and Donnie. We just need to get back together again. That's what the conversation is, you know. Emma says, what sane person wants someone she hates to breastfeed her child? That's what sickos do. But she wasn't trying to do it. You know, hell, she didn't even mind that Massa would be hopping up and down on the black woman on the plantation that didn't want him to be doing that. She didn't care because she was like, I don't want him doing all those things to me, you know.
Right, and you know what's crazy? After 2 months of a government shutdown, after SNAP benefits and whatever's going on, like you said, Demetria, just go into a mall and sit down and see how many black people. Now, these are the same people for those 2 months were hollering and screaming about they ain't going to make it. And, you know, they're going to get evicted and all this other stuff. Go and sit down at a mall and you will see how many black people will be out there shopping and putting themselves in debt with money they do not have so their kids could have a good Christmas on a day that was basically not Jesus's birthday, as we all know. And, you know, if you follow whatever. But they're going to put themselves in debt just to do all of this after everything that we've just went through, rather saying, you know what, kids, we're together, we're eating, you know, it ain't a great Christmas, but, you know, whatever, sacrifice for a year. And, you know, what is that? Demetri, you said this like 8 years ago. Isn't it more important to have a roof over your children's head than to have toys in their hand?
I would think so. I would just think so. But everybody's priorities ain't the same, you know. James, you says, y'all sound weird. You say black people, what color is your hair? Then look at your skin brown. If I was green, it does not change my position in society, okay? Regardless if you're brown, you're black. I know that I'm brown, but I identify as a black woman. That's okay, but it doesn't matter. See, we get caught up on, well, you are really brown. What is it? Okay, so that we're brown with black hair, is life gonna be any differently for us at all? Probably not. I mean, I get it. To me, that's just another conversation to have. And you know what? I seen this. X's Twitter is like one of my least favorite places to go. I have to go there sometimes to be looking for stuff. I now understand some people out there is fighting with Professor James Small. What have we come to? Y'all, people out there fighting with Professor James Small. Y'all call him, not y'all, them call him all type of names. Professor James Small been he a triple OG in the game. Now because he's like, you know, basically, are we from the motherland type thing? And I've seen people on Twitter tearing him up. James Small got to be in his 70s, and he's been doing this for a long time, researching, studying, and all, and connecting the dots. And now he ain't no damn good. He a op. I was like, how did we get here? Because first they done canceled Marcus Garvey. He ain't shit. Excuse my French. Now Professor James Smalls, he ain't ish. I'm like, what are we doing? It's like I wasn't there, but it sounds like I don't know. It's like I don't know if it's McCarthyism, if it's like this Winston-Salem witch hunts. Like, what is it? Like, oh, he's a witch. It's like this man been romping and stomping, like really waking black people up forever. Now he ain't no good. I don't listen to them people. I'm just saying I've seen this, right? I don't listen to them. They don't tell me what to do or what to think. I'm like, damn, ain't nobody safe. Thank God they ain't got no real power.
Right. And you know what's crazy is everybody's arguing about adjectives. When you say I'm a black man, that could mean many things. You could be a Nigerian black man. You could be a Dominican black man, whatever. It's an adjective. When you say white man, are you saying German? Are you saying England? Are you saying France? What kind of white man are you saying? See, and that's what kills me. When we argue about the most trivial things. There's all kinds of black people on the earth, all kinds. There's all kinds of white people on the earth. When you say white, you're just saying, hey, there was a white man that robbed the liquor store and he ran that way. You're saying something incidental about a person. So yes, I'm a black man. Yeah, he was a black guy, light-skinned black guy, this, that. It's an adjective.
I don't put too much thought into it. Hey, God is my boss. And James says, y'all sound, no, I read that one. Said, my kids would think you crazy if you say they black when they know they brown. We all crazy to somebody. Cuckoo. Common Man say you ain't sitting in the mall. I don't blame you. I do not blame you. Sister Marcella says, I remember when I cried because I did not get a Julia doll when I was a little girl. My mother told me that she was my mother effing Santa Claus. Or that day I said I would never ever teach my child to celebrate. Yeah, I was never taught anything about Santa Claus or any of that stuff at all. Never. Brother Damon, how are you? Hope you're doing well this fine day. Polo says, what's going on with you? Same to you. Says he's going against his own people for immigrants. You talking about James Small? I mean, I haven't heard the whole conversation. I've heard bits and pieces. Like I said, I'm just not getting in the middle of that. I'm not going to disqualify James Small because most of the people trying to disqualify James Small ain't got the resume to even do that. Now is he going against this? I have a hard time believing James Smalls is going against black people. I just have a hard time believing that. Now, is he saying? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not privy to the conversation. Is he saying something favorable about immigrants? And if he's doing that, does it mean he's going against black people? But again, as I say, who are y'all? Not y'all, them. Who are y'all to disqualify James Small? Professor James Small been on this planet longer than most of us. And here he is now. He been put up on the cross. Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that. Some of us should just learn to be quiet when wisdom is speaking. Yeah, I don't like everything I hear, but I'm not tying them up nowhere and dragging them down the street because, we need to get rid of them. See, the problem with us is we think we know every goddamn thing. And we don't. I mean, excuse my French, but we don't. But we are, and that's what's wrong with us too as a people. We think we know everything. We don't know shit. We don't. Now y'all feel like y'all got big enough britches to get rid of Professor James Small. How dare you? That's how I see when I see y'all do that to people like him. Y'all don't even know. You just learned water was wet yesterday, and now you're gonna tell. I see I had clicked off a little bit. But y'all gonna tell Professor James Smalls that he don't know what he talking about? You just learned water was wet yesterday. Now all of a sudden you know everything, please.
And you got to think about that. Didn't Bill Cosby say something in regards to the black man? And we took him to task. Was he correct talking about pull your pants up, fellas, and all this other stuff, whatever he was talking about? And then we're going to crucify him.
I mean, I get the whole pound cake thing. I mean, the pound cake analogy, because the premise was somebody got pew-pewed in the head for a pound cake. You shouldn't do that. But everything else he said was correct. He's basically saying it's up to us. It's up to us to teach our children right from wrong and the way of being appropriate, right? Or up your mighty nation, being a credit to the race. That's what they used to say back then, be a credit to the race. We stop doing that, and then we get mad when somebody try to give us correction or say something to us. Gloria, enjoy your dinner. Yeah, Spider-Man, I don't know, but whatever it is, I've been seeing it pop up on my timelines here and there. Oh, he this, oh, he that. Oh, I always thought he was crazy. Oh, he don't know what he's talking about. It'd be some people like 20-some years old time. I don't mess with James Smalls. He wouldn't mess with you anyway. And that's the thing. Y'all don't never, y'all over there, I gotta be careful. Y'all don't never Cancel white folks. You don't never, ever, ever, ever cancel white folks and the debauchery that they do to us, but y'all so quick to cancel people that look like us because you don't agree. It's all right. I don't agree with everybody. I don't agree with Donovan a lot. He don't agree with me, but we still friends. We don't say, well, I just can't talk to you no more, because that's what it means to be grown in your thinking. But he got some of these, and then what pisses me off is those same people, we got to cancel Professor Smiles. They influencing somebody else. Oh, we do. Oh, I guess we got it. And don't even know why. It's crazy to me. And the man said what he said. So what? So what? How does that change your life? It's crazy. Irritating. Azaza, how you doing? Says, right, all kinds of melanated people around the earth on every continent who say they ain't black lineage and identify with their ethnic group. Yeah, but the problem is we don't do that. You know, run around talking about we everything but black. Now we brown to that.
Real quick, before we get out of here, Dimitri, I think this is a question. I know some people probably tuned in to see if we're going to talk about it, and they kind of maybe want your opinion on this. Sure. The young lady and her son that were assaulted in Chicago. What is your thoughts on that? And what is your opinion about the response of the parents of the kids that assaulted this grown woman and her child?
I mean, I just feel like kind of along the lines of what we're saying today is we got to get our community in check. Trump is not going to solve that. Nobody's going to solve that. We have to solve that. We have to want to be the change, and that comes from all of us as the village. Now, in regards to the assault, should they do sometime? I don't know. I think they should be punished. What the punishment is, I don't know, but it's not a one-off. They've done it before. They being these kids, right? These elementary, junior high kids. So it's definitely something going on in the home where that kind of stuff is being taught, I guess, or learned. I don't know. But yeah, we got to get a hold of the village. We have got to get a hold of our village, because we should never be to the point. And I don't blame Sister Danny. I mean, she's seen some things, right? But we should never be to the point to where we think it's more acceptable to have the white man come in with his army to right the wrongs in our community. Yes, it started from the man, right? That we weren't acting that way until we came into contact with them. But as student minister Ishmael Muhammad said today, we know now. We're in the know. We can't just keep on saying, oh, well, it's the white man. It's the white man. Well, we know it's the white man, right? We don't have to keep continuing on the things that we've learned from them or whatever the case is. But we don't want Trump and them coming into our neighborhoods. They're not coming in the neighborhood to make things better for black people. They're coming in there because they're like, okay, them young junior flips, yeah, they're going to be beds in the prison. That's what we need them for. Put them in there early. Give them these long sentences. And we know once they get in there, they're going to get caught up with some other stuff, and they're going to get some more time and some more time, and then they're never going to get out. And we don't have to keep worrying about going to get new bodies for these beds. But see, when we're not educated, then we just keep on, doing the same thing we're doing. But I would tell you this. If you're one of those parents out there and you think it's all right that your child is terrorizing the neighborhood, see, it's going to become a different story when they talk about, we got your child laying on a slab somewhere, because everybody ain't going to play with your kids. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people who said, man, they better be happy it was that lady or somebody else, because I did something to them. Because I don't know what kind of, what time y'all on out there, these little kids, you beat up a grown man. I mean, that man is 21 years old that they beat up. Or you beat up a mama walking her children home to school. There's nothing you won't do. So, as I heard a long time ago, I don't know what type of fool you are, and I'm not going to wait to find out. Okay, I'm going to do what I need to do, and then I have to answer questions later. So if you love your kids, you better get your kids, because everybody ain't going to play with them. And I'm everybody. Shanae says, thank you, Dimitri and Donovan, for your excellent commentary. Truth is power, and you give us that power every time I hear you speak. Take a bow. You deserve it for your excellent commentary. Well, I thank you so much. That really means a lot. Sister Laverne said you want the shirt. Because both parents spoke really ignorant, in my opinion. Yeah, they all thinking, my baby. Oh, they kids. So was Children of the Corn. They was kids too. Damien was a child. Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers were both kids at one point in time. Okay. The Bad Seed, Rhoda. Yeah, that's an old movie. She was a child. And everybody came up 6 feet deep under her. So we keep dismissing that they're they kids. That ain't what kids supposed to be. That's not normal, right? That's not normal for kids to be running around terrorizing the neighborhood. That ain't what they kids. That's what kids. See, it's always, Donovan, it's always fun and games. We say, well, kids gonna be kids until it's your kid. Having somebody being a kid with your kid, then you want to, burn everything down. Nah, kids gonna be kids. Or bullying is a rite of passage. No, it's not. You're gonna get a right and a left of passage messing with mine.
Right. Or the fact that her daughter can make straight A's. She's the captain of the cheerleading team. What does that have to do with her behavior toward an adult? Because when we were coming up, Demetra, there was no way in hell you are raising your hand toward an adult.
Nah, because these kids now know their parents are raising a hand towards somebody who say something to their kids. Well, you don't be saying nothing to my child. I don't know you did. You don't know me like that. You don't know I mess you up over mine. All this other stuff. And it's like, then when something happened to them, they want the community. We need the community to get together. Like the community is like up yours, ma'am, sir.
Now there are some situations where a parent does have to go up there and defend her child. I believe you were banned from a school district for coming up to the school.
I wasn't banned, but you ain't gonna be bullying mine. Yeah, I was nice about it. I told you, the teacher, everybody else, but you ain't gonna be bullying my child. But guess what? That bullying stopped. That's all I cared about by any means necessary. Archer says, well, then in that case, what do you, Demetra and Donovan, think of the Black women whose sons got shot in the robbery and want their shooter robbery victim to be prosecuted? I heard about that. Forgive me, I forget where that is. But yeah, they was breaking in somebody's house or something like that, and they went down to purgatory, or they didn't go up to glory, I'm probably sure. I don't even see the point of it. What was they supposed to do? Come in? All the fine china, it's over there. What were they supposed to do?
Right. I mean, think about it. You're in somebody's home. This ain't a business. You're not out in public. You're in somebody's home. What are they supposed to do? Now, here in California, the overall law is, because if you got a gun, see, in California, under Democratic policy, you guys, Democratic policy disarms the citizens. It makes no sense to have a concealed carry here in California. Because if you use your weapon, you are going to be in for years of litigation, which means you will be bankrupt. They're going to bankrupt you to where you're not going to have anything. So in California, if somebody comes into your house and they are not a threat to you, they just walk in and they take your TV off the wall. They just take this, whatever. They're not doing anything towards you. According to the law in California, you are not supposed to do anything toward them, because then you become the assailant and you're looking at years of litigation. That's Democratic policy in California. Now in Texas, they don't play that. Arizona, they don't play that. But this goes to show you why we need to understand our rights as individuals. You guys, I'm telling you, Google your individual rights and understand them to a basic knowledge, at least a basic knowledge. But this is what happens under a Democratic regime. I want you guys to think about another 4 years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Look at this is where these people come from. Kamala comes from California. This is what would have happened to the nation. So again, I don't see what the big deal is. If you come into somebody's home, I don't care whose home it is, I think Malcolm X said this, without a good reason, you might be pew-pewed, and that's the end of it. And I don't think anybody would disagree with that.
I mean, teach your kids to stay out of people's houses, and we don't even need to have this conversation, but I'm not going to sit up and have tea and crumpets with you and trying to figure out what you own. You know what I mean? You turning my doorknob and, without good reason or whatever it is. And yeah, we talk about it when I say we, me and your mama and them, because you ain't going to be here. Dear Self says, Professor Small said FBAs are the CIA. Nah, it's not good. I don't know why he said that. The FBAs are the CIA. I have to listen to the whole conversation, but to discount him and all the work that he's done. And I don't agree that FBAs are CIA, but I think and I don't want to actually even expound on it because I haven't heard the whole conversation, but to throw Professor Small away, it's like, how do we get to that point? You know, let's see here. First class citizen, how you doing? It says, yeah, it's sad that James Small had been called out, but it goes both ways. He insulted people for calling them ignorant and other disparaging names. Honestly, James Small should have stayed silent. I mean, he's an elder in the community. At what point can he speak? I'm not saying what he's saying is right or wrong, but he's an elder in the community. Stay quiet opposed to what? There's some people might think that the people who are going against James Small should be quiet. So at what point can, I mean, I don't know. He's an elder. I think he's earned his stripes. I would never dare tell him to be quiet. I don't have the resume to tell Professor Small to be quiet at all. So I think that's the part that annoys me. Now we done got so high and mighty. We telling the OGs, shut up. Not saying you first class citizen, but I'm saying, we telling them to shut up. There's some, there's a new sheriff in town. I don't know. I find that to be very weird, but I think I come from a different train of thought. The elders in our community should be respected. If we don't always like what they're saying or whatever the case is, again, I have to hear the whole conversation, but I don't think we're there yet to where we could tell Professor Smalls that he needs to shut up. That's just me, though. I can't tell nobody else what to think. Mad Dog says, and I say hi to you. If not, Hillary says, I don't feel sorry for them fools. Not me. The African natives of the channel purposely to denounce the injustice done to blacks in the Western hemisphere is needed. Okay. So anyway, I see that. Oh, it's almost 2 hours. Y'all get 2 hours out of us on Sunday every time. Yes, you do. DSB says, BS, you ain't walking out with my damn TV. I know that's right. Okay. Mad Dog says, Florida don't play that either. I say Michigan, and then Brother Damon says, no, F that, Donovan. I keep lime at the house. What's lime? What, like chalk or something?
You use lime to help decompose the body.
That need to be a yard sign. I keep lime in mine. Okay. I'm just saying, Mission Vision. How you doing? Long time no see, Eddie. You say Caroline Levitt reminds me of the Bad Seeds. You Ain't Lying. Boy, that was one of my mom's favorite movies. She said when that movie came out, she was a kid, and they was scared to death, even to the point of they had. And I saw like a documentary on the Bad Seed. Of course, Bad Seed. Rhoda was a little girl. She was bad for real, right? Everybody came into contact with her, animals, dogs, people. They could all get it right. But they said the audience was so freaked out by her performance and the things that happened. This is black and white, mind you. In the movie that they actually had all the cast come out at the end and take a bow and laugh and stuff because people, I guess during the test run of it or whatever, they were just so unnerved by the movie. Of course, we've seen a lot of adaptations, The Good Son, and just different movies like that from the Bad Seed. But I always tell people, you got a bad kid, you need to watch that movie because you got some correction to be doing. Gag Shock, how you doing? Gage Shock, rather. He says, no, your house is no excuse. Yeah, I mean, and then who gonna be like, wait a minute now, let me see what the law say. Because I'm gonna take life now, but let me make sure I'm not gonna go to jail. Like I said, we just have to sort it out.
Yeah, in California, you will be, and let's say you're in the right, but they will run your pockets basically in litigation. I mean, basically, if you get a concealed carry, more than half of the class has to do with litigation. You're not even shooting and practicing and going through the thing. It's mostly this is what's going to happen in this scenario, and they're trying to sell you lawyer insurance here in California. That's what you're going to need. If you're gonna carry a weapon, you're gonna need to have a good lawyer on speed dial.
Yeah, that's true. The people you hurt somebody breaking in your house, you go to jail. And it's happened before. It has happened where people have gone to jail. They're breaking in my house, but did you have to hurt them? Or remember, there was a case where somebody was breaking in somebody's house and they got stuck in the attic or something like that, and they couldn't get out because the people were gone or whatever, and they sold them people.
California policy. You guys wanted a woman from California to run this country? Oh, and she's a super liberal? Oh.
Yeah, that's a doozy. So anyway, I think
Wait.
I said.
What's going on? Wait, I'm sorry about that. And Remember, Kamala was a prosecutor here in California, and there's videotape of Kamala saying she has the right to walk into your house and inspect your guns and make sure you have the guns you're supposed to have, which goes against the Constitution. But she said that she had the right to do that. This is what these super left liberals, they think. They want to disarm the people. And when you disarm the people and you have a problem with your government, how do you defend yourself? You can't. You better comply.
Yeah, and Harkin, they did win too. They won. So yeah, some strange times win. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank y'all for bearing with us for this 2 hours of all of this. Yeah, so it just behooves us as Black people here in America, Black Americans, to get our stuff together. Nobody's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. We got to wake up. We got to, come into knowledge of self. All of that, Once we do that, I watched Eddie Murphy's documentary, Being Eddie, on Netflix. I think it's one of the best documentaries, biopics, I guess what it is, I've ever seen. And, he says some things that I agree with. He says it's a blessing to love yourself. He says, because when you love yourself, there's things you will not do to yourself. And he talked about all the things, he came into a show business when he was 19, right? And he said he saw a lot of things. That he never got into drugs and doesn't even drink any of that other stuff. He says, because I've seen it all, right? I'd be invited to these parties and things. And he says, when they got to doing some things, he said he would leave. And he says, his idols, like Rick James. He said, those are true. All that stuff is true stories. Rick James, Red Fox, Richard Pryor, all them. He says, I paid for the funerals of Red Fox, Rick James, and I bought a headstone for Buckwheat, the guy that played Buckwheat. He says, because Buckwheat didn't have a tombstone, and the other people that I just mentioned, they didn't have any money. And he says, I'm not telling y'all this to say, oh, I did this, that, and the other. He says, those were my idols, or whatever the case is. I learned a lot from them. He says, but I also learned what not to do. He says, I don't, it just blew his mind that, they had been in the industry and there was nobody to bury them or take care of them. Again, he wasn't bragging, but when he said that, to love, he says it's a blessing to love yourself. Man, I had to pause on that one, because it's like, I think that went over a lot of people's heads. Because when you love yourself, there's just things you're not going to do. And he said, John Landis said about Eddie Murphy, he says, Eddie Murphy is too vain to destroy himself. And so when they said, did you know that John Landis said that about you? He says, thought about it. He says, yeah, I believe he said it, but he said he's right. I'm not going to do anything to harm myself in no way, shape, or form. So he said he just learned very early on that I'm not getting them when they start bringing out the, it's time to go. So yeah, you got to love yourself. When you love yourself, it's easier to love everybody else. And it is a blessing to be able to do that, especially being Black here in America. We've been taught not to love ourselves, definitely not to love each other. And so we got to work on that. When we work on that, everything else will come in line. So yeah. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. You got something to say, Donovan?
I just want to say we are going to the holiday season. It is cold here in California. We had that major storm that went through, so there's snow on the mountains. A lot of homeless people are in the streets right now. And I'm only speaking for California, but I'm very sure there's the most homeless group of people in the United States is Black people. So my thing is this: if you guys can give a few hours to donate and help these people, it doesn't matter how they ended up on the street, what this, that. Again, it goes back to the program we're talking about right now. Nobody's going to save us but us. You've got a lot of single moms out there that didn't get paid for 2 months, and they're being evicted, or they're on the eviction list, and they're just a paycheck away from eviction. Okay, fine. You don't want to help the single mother out. That's great, whatever. But what about the children? There are a lot of children that are going to have a very rough Christmas. I'm not saying go out there and get a PlayStation, but I'm saying, we got to start policing our own community. And if you got a few hours to donate, to go out and, and do things within the community to help the community, to give these people, trust me, people will remember that one Christmas that they had where nobody helped them but that one person that gave them a gift card so they can go to Denny's to have a nice dinner or whatever. We have to start policing our own. And that's the bottom line when it comes down to it. Nobody's coming to save us, y'all. Black men, Black women, we got to work together. I mean, this is the Great Reset. This is called the Great Reset. We we see in real time what is going on. We've got to come together. They are marginalizing us. Think about all of those people that lost their jobs, that are facing foreclosure. Look at the homes and the wealth that we in the Black community are continuing to lose. Look at the people that are targeted in Chicago, that's property tax went up, in some cases, double. That ain't happening on the white side of Chicago. That's happening in the Black side. What's that telling you? So it's going to be a rough Christmas, you guys. Let's come together and let's make it work and get to the next and get the right people in office.
Yeah, first class citizen on my way out. He says, you're right, Professor James Small has every right to speak his mind, but at the same time, he has to accept the consequences for what he says, so he can't be a hypocrite and expect people to respond back. Again, and I mean this with all love and respect, this is not to be disrespectful to you first class citizen or anybody. What y'all gonna do about it? What y'all gonna do to Professor Small? I'll wait for that. What are y'all gonna do to him? What power do y'all have over Professor James Small to where he would say, oh gosh, I shouldn't have said what I said? Most of the people who don't like him now probably don't hardly even know what he talks about or follows him anyway. So what power do y'all have over James Small? See, because for me, and this is something that I've had to get grown in my thinking, I have to think that when I'm going to make a move against something, what power do I have against that thing or that person? If I don't have any way to influence or any power, then I leave it alone, right? But as I said, I'm not going to be more mad at Professor Small for what he said than I am at the white man or anybody who's done a whole hard. See, and the other thing is, this is kind of next level thinking, is Professor Small wouldn't have to talk about none of the stuff he didn't have to talk about if we didn't have an oppressor. But see, everybody mad at him for what he is saying, but not more mad at the oppressor. See, like I said, when I hear these conversations about we canceling our own people, and I'm not saying they don't do things that we don't like, but when I hear those conversations that we canceling them and we ain't canceling the real problem, hey, miss me with all that. I'm not going to sign up for that at all. Because see, like I said, I'm too grown in my thinking. I'm a little bit more aware. But I think Professor James Small is the soft target because we as Black people, and I think that's a conversation we need to have. It's easier for us to go out to soft targets. Our own people, that's what I mean by soft target, is because we know ain't going to be no blowback, but you run up on a white man like that, you know better, right? As opposed to us, if we was to strike a mighty blow together against the oppressor by, keeping our money and things like that to ourselves, then we wouldn't have to have these conversations. But we organize, when I say we, I mean y'all, we organize against Professor Small because y'all don't like what he said, but that white man and that Arab man, that Asian man, that Indian man, and everybody making it in our neighborhood, and they could beat your women up and unalive our Black boys and stuff. But we talking greasy about James Small. I wish I would not. That's all I'm saying, right? And you're right, or some people do. They have selective outrage, like I said, and this is all I'm saying. This in all love. We cannot organize against Professor Small until we organize against the white man. When we do that, and we need to take Professor Small to task, and I'll entertain it, but I'm not going to entertain that. I'm just not. Again, we punch down all the time because, oh yeah, but that's kind of the problem too. We hate on each other. We'll cancel each other quick. But right now, the Indians at the liquor store somewhere to beat a Black man down somewhere. There's no doubt in my mind that's happened. And we'll talk about it for 2 seconds, but we'll stay on James Small's behind, until we get tired. But again, what power do we have to do anything to James Small? You think James Small is scared? See, that's why I said that's what I said. I respect the OGs because they don't care what y'all think. They're not gonna bite their tongue because you don't like it. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. They're not gonna bite their tongue. See, I know a lot of these people on this internet, they gotta watch what they say because they scared somebody gonna say something about them, whatever. And my thing is like punk jump up to get beat down. I say with all respect, right? I'm just saying because a lot of y'all over there, y'all want people that scratch when they don't itch when it come to you. Who are you? Who are you? See, that's what I always tell people, whether you're an activist or whatever, because I got my own thing going on too. I work with a lot of people, but I'm like, don't do things and be afraid to be yourself because of money or because somebody gonna say something about you. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to say things that are uncomfortable. I'm not saying they right, but sometimes you got to say things uncomfortable. But I see a lot of people on this internet, they go with the wind blow. Okay, we mad today at this. All right, let's be mad. Okay, we mad today at that. Let's be mad instead of the person say, why am I be mad at that for? What's that gonna do to Professor Small that I'm mad? You think he don't sleep at anything? He's tossing and turning because we mad on the goddamn internet about something he said? Professor James Small probably don't even know y'all mad. So y'all mad and the man ain't even moved at all. I'm just saying, when I saw that, I was like, huh? Nah, it's like this is bizarro world. It's crazy to me. But then again, some people say I'm crazy. I don't know. Hey, Sister Shirley, we leaving up out of here. I better go because I ain't said too much. Anyway, y'all join me tomorrow. I'm sure I'm going to be off the chain then to love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Hey, Thunder. See, you always coming up in here late. But come back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. I will be here. I'm also going to be on the African Diaspora News Channel on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It's probably just going to be me because everybody talking about I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. And I'm going to be the only one on there. Absolutely. Yeah, Cynthia, like you said, stand on your word. If you believe in what you're saying, then stand on that. But we got to stop having our heart pump Kool-Aid because somebody don't like it. Hell, there's a lot of people don't like me all the time, but guess what? I'm gonna take my black ass to sleep every night like I did last night, and we could be friends tomorrow. Peace.